Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Dami. If you're new to my channel, you're most definitely welcome. I'm a YouTuber based in London, Canada. I share immigration videos for new immigrants that are trying to find their feet in Canada, as well as lifestyle videos just to show my daily living in Canada. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you my true story of how I got my first corporate job in Canada, and also give you some tips that could help you coming from an HR perspective, because I'm in the HR field. Coming from an HR perspective, some tips that could put you out there or give you leverage over other candidates in the employment pool. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you want more videos like this, please click the subscribe button and join the family. Okay, it is free. I'll start off this video by telling you guys how I was able to get my first job, my first corporate job in Canada, the tips that helped me, or some things that I did that gave me an edge over other people that probably applied for the same role. And I would also share these tips with you for people that are currently looking for employment, or people that are currently looking to have a shift or career shift. This could also probably help you as well. So when I came to Canada for school, and after my program, people that have been on this channel for the longest time probably know this story already. But I came to Canada for school, and after my program, I started applying for a full-time job. I wanted a job in human resource specifically because I already had background experience in that field, and I knew that was a field that I wanted to go in and grow in. So I started applying for human resource jobs, and I wasn't getting any jobs. I wasn't getting interviews. And you have a problem when you're not even getting interviews at all. So I wasn't getting interviews, I wasn't getting callbacks, I was just getting rejection at the point of submission of my resume. So I knew there was obviously something wrong. So because I was doing a job at the time, I was doing a customer care job, and it was paying the bill, but I still needed something in my field. I needed something that I could grow in. So I started applying for administrative assistant roles. I started applying for office administrative roles. I started applying for anything within the human resource, people management, office administration, office assistant, executive assistant, that umbrella. I started applying for all the jobs that I could see, or all the jobs that I found in that field. So I saw that I just needed to be more specific and focus on applying for one thing at a time. And this at this I knew that if I focus on applying for one thing and focusing on just one specific role, I'll be able to prepare more for. I'll be able to tailor my resume better, and I would also be able to prepare better for the interview. I'm a very lazy person when it comes to tailoring resumes, preparing new resumes, or even writing cover letters. And I know a lot of people are also like that. So what I did was that I shifted my mind away from applying for human resource roles. I was still applying a few times, but I shifted my mind from applying for human resource roles because I felt like these companies wanted someone that had a bit of experience in a bit of Canadian experience, especially someone that knows the employment laws. So I started applying. I streamlined what I wanted. I knew what I wanted, but I streamlined it, and I felt like I needed to get a job that was at least something very similar, or something in the same pattern of human resource. So I started applying for recruitment assistants. I started applying for administrative assistant roles. So those were the two major ones that I started applying for. So I was specifically looking for, I wanted recruitment assistant because I knew that it was very much in line with human resource, but I was applying more for the administrative assistant roles. And at this point, I realized that I was getting more interviews than I was when I was applying for human resource generalist, or people management roles, or recruiter roles. I was getting more interviews, and I felt like it was a good step in the right direction. But almost all the interviews that I did, I was getting no call back after the first interview. So I knew at that point my resume is no longer the problem. My interviews are now the problem. So I had to work on my interviews. I found this YouTube account that the only thing that the YouTube account does is to teach you how to prepare for your interviews, different kind of interviews, different fields of interviews. They gave you the preparation, like the first step preparation for your interviews. So that obviously that would help you. The idea for that was to help you scale through at least your first interview and then get your feet into the second interview, and at that point you're probably a bit more relaxed. You already know the company, you know the kind of questions they asked in the first one, and you know how to prepare for the second one. So I started preparing with that YouTube account, and I'll try to look for it if I can find it and link it in the description box. I started preparing I started preparing with that YouTube account or YouTube channel, and I started trying to build my LinkedIn account. I also started reaching out to people, recruiters on LinkedIn. When I see that they have specific jobs that I want to apply for, I apply, then I reach out to them on LinkedIn to let them know, oh, I applied for this job, blah blah blah. It was a bit weird. I felt like I was farming, or I felt like I was overreaching at the point, but trust me, when you're desperate, you're desperate. So I started reaching out to them, and some of them would never reply. Some of them would reply and they would be like, yeah, thank you so much for reaching out. We are still in the phase of reviewing resumes, and once we pick our candidates, if you're one of them, we would let you know. So it goes always in that kind of form. Eventually, on a fateful day, at this point I was doing my customer care job. I was still doing my customer care job, and I got an interview request for an office administrative role. I wasn't really interested in an office administrative role because I felt like it was a lot of clerical stuff. It wasn't going to show me what I wanted from the Canadian experience that I was trying to gather. But I applied. I was very excited. I was very much excited for the role or for the interview. I prepared for the interview, and I did the interview. So after the first interview, or the first interview was actually like a quick phone call with the hiring manager or the hiring head or the hiring assistant at the point. And after that, the person prepared me for the second stage of the interview and told me when they'll be reaching out to me, if at all they do. So they reached out to me for the second interview. I was very much excited. I did the second interview and I did not hear anything back. Like after 2 weeks, I reached out. I'm like, I'm still waiting for feedback for this role. Please let me know if you've moved on or if I should still be anticipating a response. And they were very good with responding to me. They will say, we are still recruiting, we are still interviewing people. When we need to reach out to you for another interview, we will let you know. So I was like, okay. So 1 month passed. I was still applying for other jobs. I was still doing interviews. I was even doing interviews out of London. I was doing interviews everywhere. I was applying everywhere. After about a month, they still did not reach out to me. And at this point, I already gave up. I was like, they're probably not going to reach out to me. They've probably picked somebody else, and they just don't know how to like let me know. So I reached out to the hiring manager again, and I was like, just trying to get feedback regarding this role. Is it still available? And at this point, she shocked me and she told me that unfortunately they wanted to they put a pause to the role because they don't think the role is needed anymore. And I felt really sad, but I was like, she encouraged me. She said, oh, we loved your interview, especially your resume. Your resume was so good, it was so perfect, and we are open that if something else comes up in the future, you can apply. We loved your interview, blah blah blah. And I was like, but is there anything that I did not do well that you think I should improve on? And she was like, actually not. There was nothing that stood out to us. We really liked you, but we just put a pause to the role because we are no longer looking to fill that role. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I kept applying. I kept applying for roles, and I noticed that this company that interviewed me previously for the office administrative role had posted for a human resource administrative role. I was like, wow, how God works. Look at how God works. Trust me, this was after about 4 months since I finished the first interview, since I finished the interview for the other one. And I was like, I have this person's email address. Let me reach out to her. So I sent her a quick email. I was like, Hello, just if you can remember, you can look at the mail trail. This I interviewed for the office administrative role, so time, and I remember you telling me that I should apply again if any opportunity comes up. You'll be very happy to interview me again for another role or for a similar role, and that's why I applied. Please, I'll kindly appreciate if you review my resume and hopefully get a chance to come for an interview, something in that line, I think. And very quickly, maybe the next day or the next morning, I got an email from her saying that, oh, thank you so much for applying. Yeah, I remember your interview was so great. I will reach out to you shortly for a first interview, or let me know when you are available for a first interview. So I did the first interview and I was like, okay, let's see when I'll do the second interview. And they called me to come in person for the second interview, which I did. I did the second interview, and after that, I continued doing this one was very quick. It was like 2 weeks of everything. And they called me one fateful day, I think it was on a Thursday, telling me that are happy to extend the offer to me. They'll send me the offer letter shortly for me to review, blah blah blah. And I was super excited. I was very excited. I took the offer, obviously, and I started doing that role. And that period of my life taught me a lot of things. And also, considering the fact that I currently work in human resource, I've also been able to learn a few more things that I think in the future would probably help me better, or I can pass to other people that are in the same condition or situation that I was at the time. So all right, I know I that story was probably very long. I didn't intend for it to be that long, but moving on to the second part of this video, which is going to be sharing some tips or some things that I realized that I did wrong when I was applying at the time. Some things that I've also learned, some things that I changed that helped me get the job, and some things that I've learned working in human resource in the past 2 years. The first thing that I'll probably touch on is that it is never too late, it is never too early to start applying for your desired role. If you feel like if you already start thinking about, oh, I need a new job, oh, I want a career switch, oh, I think I want a corporate job, if you're already thinking about it, that's your sign to let you know that you should start applying. So make sure that you dust your resume from wherever it is and start applying for the role that you want. Moving on from there, I think this is probably the most important thing when it comes to you getting a job or getting the job that you desire: your resume. If you're in Canada or you are planning on moving to Canada, there is something called the Canadian Resume Standard. I hope I can find one. I think there is one actually on Microsoft Word. Some of the templates on Microsoft Word, I think there is one that fits the Canadian standard. I'll try to look for it. If I can find a screenshot, I'll post it, or if I can paste it in the description box, I would also put it there in the description box. But your resume must fit the Canadian standard. There is something called the Canadian standard resume, so you have to make sure that you tailor your resume in the Canadian standard. And aside that, your resume have to fit every job that you're applying for. I know it sounds outrageous, it sounds like something that would probably take you forever, but it's just something that you have to do. Once you have taken the dedication that you want to start applying for a new job, trust me, you have to, because applying for a job is actually a job on its own. It's a full-time job on its own that will take your time, take your energy. It will drain you sometimes, but when you get the result you want, you'll be grateful that you went through all those process. So you have to tailor your resume for every role that you're applying for. No two roles or no two company have the same job description or have the same job posting. So you have to make sure that you're taking the job description, you're reading what they put in the job description, then you look at your resume and see if your resume actually fits the job that they are looking for. So for instance, I'm going to use myself because I'm in the HR field. In the human resource world, human resource management is a big umbrella that covers several fields, right? So there you can be in the you can be a human resource you can be a human resource generalist, you can be a talent acquisition specialist or a recruiter, you can be in the payroll compensation benefits field. There it's just a big umbrella, so you have to make sure that you know exactly what you want. Look at your resume. Do you think it fits the job that you're looking for? So for instance, you have experience working as a human resource generalist, which human resource generalist is just as the name says. You have a bit of experience in everything in human resource. So you probably have experience with onboarding, you have experience with recruiting, you have experience with payroll, you have experience with compensation and benefits, you have little experience with everything, but you are not specialized. That's what human resource generalists simply mean. So if you're a human resource generalist, or that's the experience you have, and now you want to apply for a job specifically in the maybe compensation and benefits world, you cannot just use your human resource generalist resume for compensation and benefits. I mean, you have to make sure that everything on your resume speaks compensation, everything on your resume speaks benefits, everything on your resume says that you have experience and you know everything about compensation and benefits. So you, even if compensation and benefits was not your major focus when you were working as a generalist, you have to look for how you would bring that part of your experience out and make it the focus on that resume. So that's a resume for compensation and benefits, but you are working as human resource generalist. Now you have another job that you want to apply for, but it's a talent acquisition role, and you're still a human resource generalist. Now you have to look at the job description, look at everything that you're asking for, look at your resume, and make sure you tailor your resume to speak or to say that you have the experience as a talent acquisition specialist. If you have questions as I go, please leave them in the comment section, and I'll be very, very excited to answer your question. The next thing that I will say goes hand in hand with resume is your cover letter. I know a lot of times, even myself, a lot of times when I apply for jobs, or when I was applying for jobs, I just could not write a cover letter. It is a lot of work. Tailoring your resume for a job is a lot of work, but trust me, having to attach a cover letter to every job that you apply for is a totally different ball game. It is a big work that you just have to commit to. Trust me, some companies don't care about your cover letter. Some companies don't read your cover letters, but some companies want to see your cover letters. And if a company specifically asks for a cover letter, trust me, please attach a cover letter for that role, because when you don't attach a cover letter, it just says that you're not a serious person. In fact, sometimes when you don't attach a cover letter and they ask for a cover letter, the applicant tracking system automatically kicks away your resume, and they don't even see your resume. They don't even get to review your resume, even if you're talented or you have the skill that you're looking for. Speaking about cover letter still, if you like, write the cover letter in the biggest grammar, write the cover letter in the biggest language, in the smoothest speech that you can. If your resume, on the other hand, is not good, if your resume doesn't have the keywords that you're looking for, if your resume doesn't speak what the job description is speaking, your resume doesn't even get seen. Like if the system, obviously, or the company uses an applicant tracking system, your resume doesn't even get to them. Like it kicks it out before they even get to review resumes. So make sure that you're looking at the job description. I cannot emphasize this enough. Make sure you're looking at the job description and you're tailoring your resume to fit the job description. If there are specific things that are on the job description that seem like keywords, make sure those keywords are also in your resume. And what I mean by this is, for instance, I'm going to keep using human resource because I have experience in human resource. For instance, if you're applying for a talent acquisition role and they keep writing experience with applicant tracking system, experience with HRIS systems, or anything of such nature, make sure you're also writing it in your resume. Write it as they wrote it on the job description to fit your resume. So now back to cover letters. If you like somersault on top of the cover letter, if your resume is not good, your cover letter doesn't get seen. But cover letters are also as important as resumes, because the cover letter, for companies that actually need cover letters or read cover letters, it's the first opportunity for the candidates to actually express themselves, say what their skills are, their experience, their qualifications, and why they think that the company should go with them. I know that they ask that question in interviews, but trust me, you can write all those things in your cover letter, and once they read those cover letters, they're like, okay, sometimes they're like, okay, I think we would like to speak with this person, and sometimes they're like, Another thing, still dwelling on the resume and cover letter situation, something that is also very important that people don't talk about enough is errors in your resume and errors in your cover letters. If you misspell things, if you don't punctuate when you're meant to punctuate, things like that also affects your cover letter being seen. It just feels like you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes the applicant tracking system kicks it out because your resume doesn't make sense. You have not punctuated, you have not put full stop where you're meant to put full stop, so it just gets kicked out, if that makes any sense. Now, moving away from cover letters, I'm moving into some things that are just as important as resumes and cover letters that can also get you a job, even when your resume and cover letter doesn't. Networking. I know a lot of times people say this all the time. You have to network. From coming from a Nigerian that lived in Nigeria almost all her life up until this point in time, I didn't know anything about networking. I've always been a very timid person. I've always been a very shy person. I only talk when I'm inside the house. Most times when I'm out of the house, people don't know that I'm a talkative. So I was a very timid person. In my workplace, I talk to the people I need to talk to, and after work, that's the end of the relationship. There is nothing like I'm going for career fairs or thing. There was just nothing that I did to connect on a more professional level with my colleague or people that were working in other industries in the same field as I was. I just didn't connect with people, and it didn't really matter, because in Nigeria, most times you're getting your job based on who do you know level. So there are people that don't even have any skill or any experience and they are getting jobs, and you have all the skill and all the experiences and you're not getting a job. So sometimes in Nigeria it is based on who you know, and it is also like that in Canada. When I say it is also like that, I will come back to that eventually and in the course of this video. But still dwelling on networking, make sure that if you're I don't care if you're in Nigeria, you don't need, if you're in Nigeria and you have people, you have big people in your life, you have people that can actually help you to get a job, you probably don't need LinkedIn. You probably don't even need to open a LinkedIn account. But once you cross the border of Nigeria, once you cross the shore of Nigeria to a Western world or to a Western country, you need to open a LinkedIn account immediately. You need to start building your LinkedIn connection. You need to start networking with people on LinkedIn. You need to write your experiences on LinkedIn. You need to put your job experiences, your educational qualification, your skills. Even if you can let people also go to LinkedIn and actually attest to some of the skills that you've put on your LinkedIn profile. So you have to start building yourself on LinkedIn. You have to put a very good professional picture on your LinkedIn. Selfies may probably not do, but if that's what you have, that's not a big deal. There are people that are directors in their company and their LinkedIn picture is nothing. Like, there is absolutely nothing on their LinkedIn picture, so that's not a big deal. But you have to start connecting with people, build your network. I think that's something that I never knew how important it was. Even when I started working in the human resource field in Canada, I always go to conferences, I go for career fairs, and I just didn't feel the need to connect with the next person on my table, or maybe on our way to get lunch. talk to the person in front of you or talk to the person behind you. Sometimes I get someone behind me just trying to make a conversation, and I don't make an effort because it was not in my nature. But when I realized how important it was to actually build real connection on LinkedIn, build real connections when you go for professional events, professional conferences, build connection, connect with those people, stay connected, because sometimes just a very brief conversation that you had with somebody in a job fair, or a very brief conversation that you had with somebody in a conference would be the one that would change your life, and they would refer you for a job. So your network is very important. Your professional connection is very, very, very important. And if you look back to my story, after I did the interview, the office administrative interview, I stayed connected with this person that interviewed me, the hiring manager. I made sure that I had an email conversation a couple of times even after I finished the interview. I kept asking, oh, is there anything available right now? There is nothing. She stayed in touch. I just built that connection. I made sure to keep that connection as dear to me as I needed, because I know anything can come out from it. And eventually, obviously, I was able to also still get the job based on the fact that I had interviewed and I maintained an active communication or active connection with this person. So once you start building your connection and you start getting interviews, sometimes you do interviews and you just don't scale through the first interview. Do not be shy to ask for feedback. Send them emails and let them know that they should please give you feedback. What did you do wrong in your interview? How can you actually improve your interview for next time? And a lot of times those companies would give you feedback. They'll tell you some things that you did wrong. They'll tell you some things you can improve upon. And some other times they don't even respond. So don't take it as a bad thing, but don't be shy to ask for feedback. So speaking about interviews still, prepare for your interview like your life depends on it. Every interview, as long as it's a job that you know that you want. If it's a job that you're just using to test the waters, maybe not. But if it's a job that you know you will probably do well on this job, you probably see yourself in this role. If that is your situation, prepare for your interview like your life depends on it. Prepare like that is going to be your last interview and you are going to get that job. Prepare for every interview like that. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort, but prepare for every interview like your life depends on it. But another tip is that your first interview should be the interview you prepare for the most. It is the interview that you prepare for the most, because a lot of times companies already know the person they want to pick just from the first interview. They already know that this person is going to be a great fit on our company, or this person is going to be a great addition to our company, or this person is a great fit for this job, or this person seems like they would do well or advance really quickly on this job. So prepare for every interview. That's your first interview. Kill it, because sometimes it may just be the first interview that will get you the job that you need. Going back to the fact that in Nigeria, jobs sometimes are based on who you know. Sometimes it is also like that in Canada, and what they call it is referral. That's what they call it in Canada. Some companies even give referral bonus. Like if you refer somebody, they'll give you a bonus for referring that person. And it's just for you to know that it is very important for them. I feel like companies, especially when the referral is coming from a good employee, if one of your good employees is referring somebody else, you just feel like this person would not recommend somebody that does not have sense. Like they will recommend someone as good as they are. So a lot of times, and it also takes a lot of job away from the plate of the recruiting team or recruitment team. It makes the interview go faster, or the recruitment process go faster. Referral is very important, and it ties back to building your connection or networking. So once you network with people, you just never can know when it will be one of those people that refer you for a job. I know people that actually got their job based on referral, and trust me, it is the best thing that can happen to you, getting a job that you did not even apply for. Somebody just spoke about you and they asked you to apply. Like they told you, apply for this job, someone referred you, and I think it would be nice for you to apply for this job. Like I think that's the best thing that can happen to anybody. You don't have to do too much, but you still get the same job. So that being said, that's all the points that I add, that's all the tips that I add. I know this video is so long. I will try as much as I can to edit it to be less than 20 minutes, but if I can't do that, please enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer your questions, as long as I have answer to your questions. And also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe right now. If you want more videos like this about tips from an HR person, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to make more videos like this. So don't forget to give this video a like and drop your comments in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.